Alright, what's going on, everybody? The old soldier coming at you today from Robeson County, North Carolina, where if it rains anymore, I'm going to build an ark, like I said the other day in my video. Um, I guess somewhere last night between 11 o'clock and 1 in the morning, the bottom let out. Only bright side today is breezy and windy, so it's pushing some of the water off to places where it'll evaporate a little easier. But like I said yesterday, we're just inundated with water. And I know, folks, there's people out in Midwest and the plains that are just, they're calling this one of the worst winter storms in history. I've got friends that are in Texas talking about their pipes freezing. Um, when was the last time you heard pipes freezing in Texas? Um, Along with the fact that they're having rolling blackouts due to power shortages or power transmission lines being knocked down. And I think that one article I read yesterday said something about the wind turbines that they use out there to provide a lot of electrical power is froze up. I'm a big advocate of green power. Yeah, I know. But I'm also an advocate of alternatives when the green's not practical, i.e., what happens if the winds die? What happens if the sun gets covered by clouds or it's nighttime? So, I think green power is great to augment, but we're nowhere near ready for it to be the primary source. Just call it the way it is. My firm belief is to re-look at the hydro dams across the nation, see what can be done to upgrade and revitalize those, along with, nuclear power, just to name a couple, along with gas, coal, etc. Because there's some places that don't have any rivers, so can't produce hydropower, and I get that. But anyway, yesterday we talked about HR 127, and I got a lot of Rebel. Yeah, I got Rebel Dog up here on the couch with me, and he's being a pester. Sit your bahonkus down. Sit. Say hello to all the nice people out there. Say hello. And sit here and be a nice puppy. All right. But yeah, HR 127, we talked about that yesterday. Had a lot of good comments from all of you yesterday on that. Appreciate it. Many of you gave some valid points about what's going to happen with this bill. Like I said, the whole bill may not pass, but in the event that doesn't happen, these people that got the power to make it happen, they'll cherry pick the things out of it that they want to push. Not to mention the fact, the thief in chief, the idiot in chief, is pushing for something to happen. Okay? I, for one, I'm not giving them a darn thing. And if they pass any measure that requires my name to be put on a list or a roster, that's an automatic violation of the Fourth Amendment. See, folks, the Constitution of the United States of America and the Bill of Rights guaranteed us that right to bear arms. And it's not because to form a militia. That's the one thing the left will throw at you all the time. That's the safer. No, the very last end of it says shall not be infringed, meaning every American has the right to bear arms, not only to protect themselves from intruders, to protect their property, protect their families, or to protect us from foreign invaders, but also to protect us from a tyrannical government. And when the government becomes tyrannical and a dictatorship, then it's time for the people to abolish that form of government and form a new one. That was why the Second Amendment was so important. Why? Because the dictator, the tyrants, will use the military against the people. If you don't think that's going on right now, drive up to Washington, D.C. It looks like a flipping war zone. The checkpoints remind me of Iraq. Serpentine checkpoints to get into the Capitol.
What if the world's most fascinating library was at your fingertips? With a subscription to Script,
Fence around the Capitol building.
endless ebooks, audiobooks, documents,
Yet the majority of the nut jobs up there don't want a border wall.
medical school was very
Hypocritical? Yeah.
sleepless nights, eating on the go. I lost a lot of hair during that time. It's sometimes challenging to find something that is both safe and effective.
The so-called shutdown for 60 days in the military to discuss extremism in the ranks.
Recommended to their patients.
Nothing more
We are evolving because
than a query
clinical proof.
to try and get people
Cat growth journey at
who have conservative and high decent moral values ejected from the service. Therefore, they will have a base of soldiers that they know in an emergency will remain loyal to the president. Not the Constitution, the president, and members of Congress. Okay? That's what this is about. And again, coming from General Austin, I'm just appalled. I was on active duty when he commanded the 82nd Airborne Division and the 18th Airborne Corps for a time. Had a lot of respect and admiration for a fellow paratrooper. Not anymore. The moment they told him to do this, I'm pretty sure it was suggested to him to do something along these lines, or to come up with a measure to do this. And the fact that he caved in immediately to it, instead of saying, sir, Mr. President, all due respect, our troops swear an oath on the day they enlist to protect and uphold and defend the Constitution. And what they're wanting to see is a group of soldiers, troops, individuals that will say, we will swear and defend to protect the left-wing group of nut jobs in Congress and that lunatic thief in chief and his Jezebel whore vice president, and damn the American people. Now, mind you now, that being said, there are more legally armed Americans in the United States than there are troops in the military, and that's combined. That's combined. What I mean by combined, active and reserve. And you've got two reserve components in the U.S. You have the reserve system of each branch. That's federally controlled forces. Okay, Army Reserve, Navy Reserve, Air Force Reserve, Marine Reserve, Coast Guard Reserve. And I'm sure we'll throw in Space Force Reserve if they got one. The Guardians. I don't know who came up with that nut job title. One thing about President Trump I didn't really care for or understand, Space Force. Anyway. Then you've got the National Guards, and there's two branches for the National Guard. There's the Army National Guard and there's Air Force National Guard. Those are first and foremost controlled by the states. Okay? The governor has power over the troops, but those troops have to meet federal guidelines and standards. That is why they all have to go to the same basic training as the regular forces. Okay? They have to meet the certifications of all the federal forces. The difference being is that in the event of a state emergency, the governor of each state has the power to call up his National Guard to aid and assist civil authorities. Now, aid and assist is not meaning that we're going to arm them to the teeth and they can go around arresting people. No. That does not fall in their wheelhouse, and nor shall it ever. But, case in example, 1993, when I was in the National Guard, I was in the Tennessee Army National Guard for 2 years. Many of y'all out there watching may remember the big snowstorm that blanketed the east coast of the United States in 1993. Well, several National Guards were called up: Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina. After 1 or 2 days of running around through Chattanooga, Tennessee, pulling people off the interstate, especially rude Canadians, and Austin S., nothing against you, but the ones I had to pull off the interstate were really rude because they thought they could drive in it, and the governor of Tennessee and Georgia and Kentucky had closed the interstate. And anyway, we had to get them out and take them to shelter, and the next day provide them transportation back to their vehicle once the interstates reopened. Then they sent us up to Polk County, Tennessee, where the county seat is Ducktown. And in Polk County, Tennessee, you got Ducktown, Turtletown, Dogtown, Greasy Creek, Reliance. Okay, Reliance, the sign on the town's one store that also serves as post office is wider than the building that all that's in. Yeah. And Dogtown, it's Dogtown, is actually a pump house that's a part of the Hiwassee Dam system. The limits are, and I think they're novelty. They're not, but the limits are about 50 yards apart. But anyway, we were sent up there to aid the local sheriff's department. And so when we got there and got operations set up, each night, 4 of us would go on duty at the sheriff's department to help the 3 deputies they had get out on calls, because their squad cars could not get out there due to the snow and ice. But our Humvees with snow chains, etc. So we could transport them so they could do law enforcement, but we ourselves did not have powers of arrest. We could aid and assist if they needed us to, but as far as we're walking down the street, okay, we're going to arrest you because you just spit on that all fell in civil authorities. Okay. And there was one National Guard unit in North Carolina. No, it was Tennessee, part of 278 Cav, that was further on up from us, one county north. They actually rolled a M113 up to a guy's house that had barricaded himself in and had been beating on his wife and kids and was threatening to kill him. And when the 278 rolled up with his M113 and 3 sheriff's deputies got out, the guy come out and said, "I can't fight the army," and he surrendered. But long story short, that's what's going on there. So to me, I would ask this question again, and I've said it before. Why is there a continued presence of National Guard troops at our nation's capital, and for what purpose are they serving? Why are they there? Who's paying the bill for them? As far as what type of orders, and I've discussed this before with you, the difference between state orders and federal orders. Who's funding it? What states still have troops there? These are all questions I'd like answered. You should too. What is our bunch of monkeys up there in Congress afraid of? What is the thief in chief, idiot in chief, and his Jezebel whore vice president afraid of? I'm not one of these QAnon or whatever the guy calls himself. I'm not one of these type of conspiracy theorists, but I do believe there's some measure of some of the things that's talked about in those circles that has some modicum of truth. Is not so much the word, but what's the word I am looking for? Has some measure of credibility worth the point of at least looking into and finding out what is really going on. Okay? Then again, we got these people up there that firmly believe in, what's that dumbass's name? Louis Farrakhan. The dipstick that talked to the big spaceship in the sky. Yeah. So that's some of the mentality of some of the people we're dealing with up there. But anyway, I guess I got to take this knucklehead outside because he is, I don't know, don't want to sit still. So until tomorrow, my friends, God bless, take care, stay safe, stay armed, stay vigilant. Keep your head on a swivel, keep your ear to the ground, keep your eyes open. Stay safe, my friends. All right. And again, last thing I'm going to say in this segment today is this. Build on your network. Establish multiple networks. Do not centralize everything within one network. And I'll say no more. To the Scotsman, hopefully by the end of the week, I'll have that documentation we had discussed out to you. And we'll go from there, my friend. And to everybody else, like I said, if you want to know more, you can email me at rantsofanoldsoldier@gmail.com. And we'll talk to y'all then. Soul Soldier out.